Now, I've had a few people ask, how do I cut glass tiles? So I thought I'd take this opportunity to shoot a mini video just showing you how I cut glass tiles. Now, I'm going to be using my C-Bell double wheel glass nippers for this. And remember, these are only suitable for glass, not for ceramic or any other type of material. But if you don't have those, that's not an issue. You may already have the Leponet double wheel nippers, and they're fine as well. I'm also going to be showing you just very quickly on how to use a glass scorer and also my pair of plastic running pliers to actually score and break the glass tiles as well. But bear in mind, you might have a pair of metal ones or you might have a different glass scorer. They will probably work the same. So don't go out and buy new tools if you don't need to. There are other tools in the marketplace that will do very similar or the same as what I'm doing now. Now, when it comes to, let's choose the vitreous tile. You'll notice on this particular vitreous tile, it has grooves on the back here. And when you're cutting, they can actually interfere with cutting using your double wheel glass nippers because your glass nippers may want to go into the grooves on the back. So what I generally do, and this is just me, my first cut is usually in the opposite direction of the grooves. So as you can see here, they're running that way. I'm going to flip that over and cut in the center like that. So all I'm going to do is just cut that, making sure it's where I want it to be as far as in the center. I don't want it on an angle like that. I want it to be in the center and I want to have a straight cut. And all I'm going to do is just cut it like that. Very, very easy. And if I want to do it in quarters, I can do so. Now remember, when I turn this over, the grooves are going to be running the way that I'm going to be cutting, which means that they could interfere with trying to get a center cut. But that's the nature of the beast. But if we hold it where we want it, there you go. And so what happens is we've now got, just put that down there so you can see it. We've now got some nice, pretty well straight cuts. I find it's a lot easier to go against the tile, the grooves on the back of the tile when I first cut. But that's just me. Everyone has their own way of cutting. So I find that really does some really nice straight cuts. Now, if we're going to be nipping something like this into, let's say, a circle, it's a little bit more difficult because, again, those grooves on the back will no doubt interfere with that circle. So I'll just roughly draw a circle. I can't draw for nuts, but that's okay. And so we'll give that a whirl. Now, you may have to hold this fairly firmly in the between the blades because, like I say, once you get to a certain direction, these grooves may interfere with you holding that, might want to pull into a specific direction. Again, I usually start off in the opposite direction of the grooves, and also small nips tend to work for me better. And you're able to get that really nice edge without using a grind or anything like that. And it's really just a matter of going around, and I can feel that groove pulling, but I'm just holding firm. And if you get too close to the edge, there you go. And this is why we do small nips. There you go. If you get too close to that edge here, this edge is angled. So if you get too close, you may find that your nipper will want to pull to the side. So just keep that in mind. If you're doing vitreous tiles cutting in circles, then you're probably better off doing it a little bit smaller, so as the outside doesn't pull across like that, because it wants to pull across because it's on an angle. I hope that makes sense, and I hope my fingers are not getting too far in the way, too much in the way. So now what we do is we make sure that we don't use our hands. We just use a straight edge, some type of thing. There you go. And then we have smaller tiles. Now these are really good if you're going to be wanting to create different patterns. If we want to cut this into different shape tessera and different patterns in your design. These have kind of like a little groove on the back, but nothing major, so it's not going to interfere with the cutting. And might I say that vitreous tiles are very, very handy to use. The only ones I don't like using is the pitted vitreous tiles. Some people do, and that's fine. But my choice is I prefer not to. I like the very smooth ones because it makes it easier to get the grout off the tile, whereas the pits tend to hold the grout in there. Doesn't matter how much cleaning, I just can't seem to get them clean. So in this particular case, we can cut this in quarters, again like that. As you can see, quite easy to cut. And then we can cut those triangles again, making them even smaller. Holding it straight, so we want a straight cut. There you go. These ones here are the same. These are like a round tile, glass tile, and of course it's got some texture on the back, but nothing that's going to interfere with the cutting. And all I'm going to do is put it in the center there. And when you do put anything in the center, if you make sure it's horizontal with the pliers, like that, then you're going to make sure that your cut is going to be very good and straight. So there you go. These ones here are a little bit thicker, so you are going to get different thicknesses in glass tile, and that's fine. You can use different thicknesses in your mosaic. All it's going to do is create texture and interest. So don't think that everything has to be flat. The only time I think that things have to be flat is if you're doing something like a table or something where you're going to be putting things onto it like drinks or plates. Then in that case you want everything to be flat. So this is a bit thicker. This is Sapphire Gold, and again we'll cut it in the center like that, and again cut, and again this way, and we can cut this into three if we want, there and there. There you go. Now let's cut a circle out of this. This is stained glass, and this is very flat on both sides. You can get stained glass that is textured on one side, or you can get texture on both sides. Well, if you're going to be doing mosaics, it's very good if you're having a texture on it. Make sure it's not a very in-depth texture, because you don't want to get the grout stuck in it. But if it's got a texture to it and it's a slight texture, it's not going to be an issue. So in this particular case, I'll draw a circle here. And because there's no grooves in this on either side, it's very, very easy to cut out. What we're going to do, I'll just move that across. It's not shards, so I can use my hands. And just, again, nipping around like that. You can also cut in reverse. For instance, I can go backwards if I want. And in some cases, I prefer to go backwards than forwards. It really does come down to what you want to do. There you go. And in this particular piece here, what we can also do, we can cut this into quarters or thirds. We can use our glass scorer. And again, when you're using your glass scorer, always make sure you start at the bottom and go up right to the end, or some people start at the top and pull down, but you just need to have a very consistent score from the start to the end. Don't stop, a consistent score. And normally it makes like a really, I love the sound it makes. It's kind of like, well, it's a scoring sound. So we can do this. I don't know whether you can hear that. And then we can go across this way as well. We'll get our running pliers. Now these are the plastic ones. You can get metal, but I prefer the plastic ones, personal preference. There's a line up the top here that goes to the top, and you put your score line just into the score line, or into the glass I should say, and make sure that the line is lined up with the score line, and just hold it at both ends and just break it. And we can do it again. There you go. The beauty about this is if you have a larger piece of glass, it allows you to get a straight break. Whereas if we have a larger piece of glass with any of these tools, then what happens is you can get a curve in it, because, for instance, if I cut this, the chances are may come out straight, or you might get a slight curve in it. Whereas with doing it this way, and it's a larger piece, then you know you're going to get a straight score and a straight break. So we'll do it again here. And you may want to cut this or score this into a few different sizes. There you go. Then we can do, and then we can get our double wheel nippers if we want to, and do another break like that. So you can come up with so many different designs. And of course you can use a combination of these. So you can create some different patterns as well. So anyway, that's a very quick video. I hope it is anyway, and I hope you've taken something away from it. If you have any comments, put some comments down, or put a comment down in the bottom of the comment section of the YouTube channel. If you want to know anything, like I say, this is just my way of doing it. It doesn't mean it's the only way. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you saw value in it, please share it far and wide. And if you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video. Keep creating and enjoy.